Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And this,
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you go ahead and like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, like I said earlier, go ahead and hit that like button so you can keep up with us on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and go ahead and hit that notification bells for shows like this one in the future.
ding.
Thank you for that, Ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter, go ahead and hit us up at X Talking Ish. And as well, hit us up on my personal page at X underscore Williams81, where I retweeted the show. And we are streaming on Periscope on Twitter. Alrighty, then, before we do get into our topics for tonight, I know we haven't been on in a couple of weeks ish. Of course, we've been, kind of letting everything play out. Hasn't really been too much news besides the consistent Deshaun Watson updates. It seems like on a everyday basis, which we'll get into
Yeah,
shortly.
no doubt.
I don't know about you, Ish, but I feel like the break was needed. Sometimes we don't need to talk about football all day every day. That's what the talking heads on these sports channels get paid to do, because we don't get paid to do that. But when it's time for us to talk, we're gonna talk and keep it real on here. So with that being said, Ish, we're gonna jump right into the first topic of the night. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Ish, and everybody that's listening in. This is a topic we've been trying to keep our hands off of for a very, very long time, since it first came out, a little bit over, maybe close to almost a year now. I remember talking to my boy Ish here, and I asked him, "Hey, do you want to talk about this, or do you want to wait?" Because of usually we like to wait till all the information is out on anything before we talk about it, and I honestly feel like rightfully so. Ish made the great decision to say, "Hey, let's wait and talk about this when we get all the facts." Well, we've been waiting a little too long now, and we're kind of impatient. And after the 24th accuser now has accused Deshaun Watson of, for a better lack of terms, having a happy ending type of massage,
Yeah,
um,
it's hard to really.
it's hard to not talk about it. So, with that being said, we're going to spend a couple minutes tonight talking about this obvious topic, especially if you are here in Houston, Texas. Let's be real, Ish. It's kind of talked about it even in the workplace. So, with that being said, Ish, what are your thoughts on this? And of course, we'll jump back and forth from one another. We'll also get the comments in here as well, and we'll see what everybody's take on it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've been really trying to hold off on this, trying to get all the facts, trying to see what's going on. But it just seems to be the story that doesn't stop giving at this point, right? Like it just keeps going on and on and on. And at what point did we need to just come on here and it's not like a lot of people are out here checking for our opinions, but for the people that do tune in, I'm
We
sure
gonna get it.
some of y'all have been wondering like, hey, why haven't they addressed it yet? I think it's about time we do. Um, like you said, number 24 just came out in the suit, and I mean there are a number of things that come to mind when I think of this Deshaun Watson situation. One of the first things I think is like, did the Browns do the wrong thing with the contract? I mean, let's just get that out the way. The contract is one of the hottest. I think that's what's made the story even more interesting is the fact that he came out and he got this fully guaranteed contract, right? And we did. I think when it was announced, we gave his agent props. We said, "Hey, man, for you to come out and do that in this situation, in this climate, and get him a fully guaranteed, like, man, you got to represent me. If I'm a player, I'm definitely asking for him to represent me." But now looking at it with number 24 coming out, did the Browns do the wrong thing? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I will say this, and Ish, we have wives in our lives. We were raised by our beautiful mothers. We have a daughter, right? And I'm saying that to say that I'm not about to sit here and get on a soapbox and make it seem like I am the greatest person in the world because I have all those things in my life. That's what we're not about to do. Okay, we're not out here giving them the political ass rebuttals on things that, again, let's just have a real conversation on. First thing first, we just had this issue go through the judicial system, and they have cleared Deshaun Watson not once but two different courtrooms. Correct? So at this moment now, these are all still civil cases because there are no criminal charges at the moment. These are all civil cases, and the last three accusers that have came out and said Watson has done A, B, and C came out after these other women have come out and put it on public display. And the main thing that I am questioning more than anything is all of these women are being represented by one lawyer. Reason why I say that is because it just seems too coinkydingle, and I say that on purpose because Tony Busby, the lawyer, is close friends with the owner of the Texans. I know people can say they don't have nothing to do with it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But today, the most recent story with the situation, apparently, we don't know how true it is or not, but the Houston Texans provided Deshaun Watson with access to whatever he needed and make sure that Deshaun Watson and whoever that he brought in was signing NDAs. The reason why this story doesn't make me go, oh my God, because Michael Jordan just 30 years ago has been getting praise since he was playing with the Bulls for making sure that women signed NDAs anytime that he was with Michael Jordan. Two different circumstances, but I'm just letting people know that this is not something new, especially with not just athletes, but people that make a lot of money. This is something that is normal. But if you are an individual that has kept up with the story, go check out the most recent Real Sports episode where they have interviewed a couple of the women that they are accusing Deshaun Watson of what he did. And with their stories, yes, they are horrible stories on how they felt of being mistreated, taken advantage of. However they feel, that's their take on it, and I'm not going to take anything away from what they feel. But when you say that something happened the first time, yet you continuously go back and say, hey, I don't mind doing A, B, and C, whatever reason, it's hard to say that it is that you didn't want this to go down. You consent, you make the consent. Whatever happened behind closed doors, it happened. And I know that Watson is probably going to get some type of suspension, but to have these accusers say A, B, and C, at this point now, it's starting to seem like a money grab. That's just my opinion. I wrap it up with that. It seems like a lot of this is just, man, he got that $230 million contract. And again, I'm not saying the women want the money. I'm just saying that a lot of these circumstances or coinkydinks seem very calculated. They seem very calculated every time Deshaun Watson or his lawyer Rusty opens his mouth for the wrong reasons. I don't know if, again, in Houston, if anybody heard, of course, he was on Houston Sports Talk and he made a comment that as a lawyer, you probably tell your the guy that you're representing probably not to say, but he said what he said, and then bam, the next day later, there was another accuser that said that. So I'm not trying to be an asshole about this situation. I'm trying to be real and let's have a real ass conversation about this because a lot of this stuff just seems very fishy. If he did it, okay. It's not a criminal case at the moment. It is civil, and it's probably not going back to trial ever again because you can't get. It's going to be charged with double jeopardy, right? Ish.
Well, no, because he could face. They just decided there wasn't enough evidence.
Yes.
Come out, then they could definitely decide.
But here's the thing: does any woman that had any type of massage play with Watson, have any type of bodily fluids available to provide some type of DNA evidence to investigators to say, hey, this is my stuff, this is Deshaun Watson. We don't know. So a lot of this is he say, she say, literally, and also your feelings and emotions towards Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans, the Browns, NFL, whatever it is, women in general, like whatever the reasons that you are a person that are throwing out your emotional feel towards this situation. That's what I'm seeing right now. I'm trying to see this as a the whole circle. I don't have a horse in this race right now, ish, and I'm trying to at the end of the day just see what really is real, what's not real, and what's going to come out of this when this whole situation is over with, ish.
I mean, I disagree. I definitely believe you're not the only person that has the opinions that you stated. But I 100% disagree. I disagree for a number of reasons. I mean, first off, there are reports that these cases started even 2 years before he requested to be traded from the Houston Texans. So the conspiracy theorists part about it, I don't know. I mean, some people may be opportunistic of the 24. There may be some people who are taking advantage of the opportunity and they want to do that. But all 24, I don't know that we can sit here and say all 24 are just grabbing for the money, especially when considering these cases were filed before he got the fully guaranteed contract, right? Then on top of that, when you're looking at this situation, and regardless of whether you believe the accusations, you don't believe the accusations are there. And this is no longer a situation of whether or not he's criminally going to be charged. Two grand juries already said they're not going to file criminal charges. But it doesn't take criminal charges for him to be punished by the NFL. If we all remember back and recall Ben Roethlisberger, he had two accusers a couple of years ago, and he faced 4 games for those two accusers. Never even went to a criminal trial, but he still faced 4 game suspension. So if we were sticking with that standard, 2 games for each accuser, that would be 48 games that Deshaun Watson would face. I have been sitting here mulling it, thinking about it for a long time because, again, this story just won't go away. And when I sit and I really think about it, like you said, we have we were raised by our mothers. We both have daughters, and I sat and I thought about it. When I really sit and think about it, I think that if I'm the NFL, I'm in a bad spot, right? Because honestly, when I'm thinking about it, I'm not even somebody that has a real bone to pick with the league on, what their punishments have been throughout time. Everybody knows that there have been disagreements about the punishments the NFL has given out. But when I look at what position the league is in, as somebody who has a daughter, somebody who's married, I thought about it, and honestly, if they come out and they give him anything less than a year, I think it'll feel like it's too light. Not because I want him to be punished severely, but because I feel like if you come out and you say anything less than a year, it just seems too light for the atmosphere, the situation that's going on. 24 women. Um, I also think when you come out and you say a year, it still seems a little light. I think really, if I'm being honest, based on what is going on in society, the political temperature in the room, what we have been seeing of late, I honestly think anything short of a lifetime ban will feel like it's too light. And that is me just saying, if we're looking at it straight from the politics of the situation, anything short of a lifetime ban will feel too light. But I understand it's a business. I understand, you know hey, this guy, he is innocent until proven guilty, so on and so forth. I get it, and I understand. That's why I'm not sitting here advocating for a lifetime ban. But what I would do if I was in the NFL shoes, I would suspend him indefinitely. I would suspend him indefinitely, like they suspend Josh Gordon all the time for doing drugs. Suspend him indefinitely, You can put him in whatever kind of program you want him to go into. If you want to put him in counseling, you say that's a requirement before you can be reinstated by the league. That's fine. But I feel like if you suspend him indefinitely, at least then you have something to fall back on where you can say, you know what, hey, we suspended him. We made him go through this rehabilitation process. We feel like he has, become a better person. He's done these steps. We're gonna reinstate him, even if it's after a year. I think it's received better if you suspend him indefinitely rather than if you come out and you just say we're gonna suspend him for the season. I think they're in a bad space. I think it's a lose lose regardless. I think Deshaun Watson has put himself in a really bad spot because the more details that come out, the worse PR it looks like for him. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't help him when you have, even with the Texans situation and people saying, well, the Texans were setting it up. Regardless if the Texans were setting it up or not, 66 different masseuses in the span of 17 months. That does not look good. I mean, do we have any other players that we can say that they're seeing this number? Like the number seems outrageous. Now, if other people are coming out and they're saying like, "Oh, well, I saw 50," then maybe we're like, oh, "Okay, that makes sense." But 66 just sounds outrageous.
Can I ask a question
Go
though?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
On a serious note, though, everybody that's listening and tuning in, especially on the podcast, is it a problem because it's the masseuse, or is it a problem because it's the number of women that he had encounter with in that shorter time span? Because again, we can go back to a guy like Wilt Chamberlain that gets praised for being with a certain amount of women, right? So what I'm saying again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that is it because of the profession that these women are in and what they do is what makes it bad, or is it because of men and women shouldn't be doing this on a consistent basis anyways?
It's the combination of the allegations.
Because if he's in his mansion and he's bringing, because again there's plenty of people that, and I'm not even talking about the athletes, I'm talking about people that make a lot of money that will be in their mansions and that will bring in 10 to 20 to 30 girls. Then we just have a thing called the Playboy Mansion, and they used to have plenty of women come through in and out, and
that's a totally different situation.
I got you, but I'm just asking that this is not again a oh my god type of for me, because I'm 31 years old. I feel like I'm a little grown. I've seen things in my life to where this situation. I'm not saying that people are blowing it up, but I'm just saying that this isn't anything like wow to me. That's all. Again, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it because these women are masseuse, right? And because of the profession, the job that they're doing is supposed to be professional, and Deshaun Watson took it to being from professional to unprofessional. That what we on?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the situation is 100% different because if you're talking about, I don't think anybody's blowing up the situation because of two consenting adults getting together, right? Like if it were two consenting adults getting together, even if you choose to sleep with 100 women, I don't.
But that's what I'm saying though, Ish.
Oh
If people go watch that Real Sports interview, they apparently arranged after the first meeting. They've arranged visits where Deshaun Watson paid to be able to have himself released under the both of them's consent. So again, I'm trying to figure out at the end of the day, like, yes, there is something here. Yes, I have no problems agreeing with you where Roger Goodell probably is going to suspend Deshaun Watson. But what are we like really crucifying him for? Because he wanted to get his meat beat? Like, that's what I'm trying. Like, I'm seriously trying to figure this out right now.
So there's a difference between you calling a masseuse and wanting to get your meat beat, as you said, and you doing that right to a masseuse, and Deshaun Watson doing that. Why is there a difference? Because Deshaun Watson is in a different place. Okay, Deshaun Watson. It's the same reason why people aren't supposed to, have any sort of relationship with their boss, right? Somebody in power. Deshaun Watson is a person in the public eye with some power. If you are a masseuse, right? And I don't know if this is the situation. I don't know if that's why they followed up afterward or what the situation was. But let me explain to you what these sorts of situations can become. Somebody in power, they do something. You may not agree with it, but because it is a person of power, he is a person in public eye. If I am a masseuse that also works with other athletes, right? He could then say, "Oh, don't work with her because X, Y, and Z." It doesn't have to be the truth, but he can go and he can ruin my business because he is now saying or not recommending me or saying that I provided poor service or whatever. So if you are somebody in that position, what are you going to do? And it's like you have to think about it from a different situation, not necessarily of, oh well, you just you I mean, you still met with him 3 times after that. I mean, you got to think about it from another situation of, in that situation, you don't know if you feel like he might go and ruin your business. I am also, massaging other players from the Texans organization, and now I'm afraid that they won't come my way because Deshaun Watson, the star of the team, the face of the franchise, goes and says in the locker room, "Do not work with this person." Like, what is that situation? You don't know. You are a person of power, Deshaun Watson. That is why he is in the situation that he is in. If he was just any Joe Schmo off the street, nobody's talking about this. Nobody cares. Those people probably maybe don't even file a suit, or they do file a suit, but it's not in the limelight like it is right now. The thing is, he is in a situation of power. He took advantage of that situation of power, is what people feel like. These ladies feel like he took advantage of that situation, and that's why he is where he is. And honestly, from an NFL perspective, that's why he is going to be suspended. He has to be suspended because if you were to go out right now and do something and you're wearing your company's t-shirt and it says your company's name and you're all in the news and 30 women come out and accuse you of something, Xavier, please, what do you think? You gonna get fired? Like, let's just be honest about it. You gonna get fired. So I mean, the man can't be mad about getting suspended. All these people out here that are like upset about the possibility of him being suspended because it's not a criminal case anymore, think about it from that perspective. If you're wearing your company's whatever, you represent your company out in public, even if you're not on the clock, you go, you do something stupid, and it's all over the news. Do you or do you not think that your company is going to get rid of you? They will get rid of you because they have personal conduct. They have conduct policy that if you represent the company in a bad way, they can terminate you, so he can be terminated. Like, I don't understand what the argument is about. We're not talking about criminal anything anymore. Everybody that's still stuck on this criminal thing, you need to get over that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you have made the league look bad, and you continue to make the league look bad because now look, we got number 24 coming out, and if any more women decide they want to come out, it's just going to continue to linger on for years. And I mean, I think I was watching somebody was saying, it possibly could go on for 2 years because think about it, these cases haven't even gone to court yet, so this man still has to go to court if he doesn't settle. You're telling me that this could linger for 2 more years? Oh my! If I'm the NFL, you got to figure some way to get out of that. Maybe he might even get put on the commissioner exempt league list this year. He could sit out the whole year on commissioner exempt this year and still face a suspension next year. Like, this situation has become. I mean, to me, I haven't seen anything like this before, and I think it's completely unprecedented from the standpoint of it is polarizing on what type of punishment he should get. A lot of people feel like he should not face punishment. A lot of people feel like he should never play in the NFL again. I don't know how the NFL is going to decide this one, but this is kind of why we were trying to stay away from it because it is very polarizing. I think that there are complete polar opposites in the court of public opinion right now, and if you're Deshaun Watson, I don't think you win either way. If you're the NFL, I don't think you win either way. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, you're praying, you are praying that no more women come out, and you are praying that he gets something like maybe 8 games, even if he gets a year, as long as he can play again. I think you're praying for that situation because this could turn into a situation where they void this man's contract. He does not get to play in the NFL anymore, and they gave away free draft picks to the Houston Texans. And if that were to happen, I will have to commend the Houston Texans on some crazy business because they got free draft picks. And I mean, after that, how can I make fun of them anymore when they got free draft picks?
I can, because they ain't gonna do nothing with the draft picks. We all know that.
We,
But
we don't know that yet.
anywho,
I mean,
well, after the picks, we'll see. But
yeah, you're right. We'll see
we'll
after
see.
the picks. I
But
mean, now
anywho,
we waiting for the picks to see.
as y'all saw, we tried to hold off for a
Yeah,
while on
we
talking
tried.
about this. We
We tried.
kind of went a little over on time, but it's okay because Ish, I am not mad at anything that you said. You are correct. Everything that you said, especially with if you are a woman that had that type of massaging business. Yes, Deshaun Watson is an individual that probably could mess up your business for you moving forward. I completely understand that. That's why I'm not on either one of these sides. I'm trying to look at this as a whole
I
and
just wanted to
figure
resolve.
out what's happening, what's going to happen, and what's going to be the final outcome, so we can all move along from this. Because this is, again, I'm just going to finish it up with this story could be a lot worse. I'll say that, as in it could be something a lot worse compared to just having a happy ending. I'm gonna leave it at
It
that.
still could
So,
get well. It still could get worse, and that's the thing. We
well,
don't even know, and that's what's making it. I mean, I think that's part of what's making it kind of a crazy situation. Is every day something else comes out, and who knows what comes out next.
you're correct. Who knows? Especially after this episode is over with and drops on podcast for everybody to
Bombs
listen
always
to.
drop after
Number 25 will come out. Trust me, I've called it so far on these podcasts. All right, let's go ahead and move on from a guy that got his bag a couple weeks ago to a guy who finally got his bag. And I want to say finally, he gets taken care of, but he definitely got taken care of once again after winning the Super Bowl. Mr. Aaron Donald.
Thanks,
Most
DJ.
recently, he was on podcast speaking about, I don't need to play football. I'm good where I'm at. At the end of the day, he is I feel like a first ballot Hall of Famer. I could be wrong, but at the moment, he does have the stats, the accolades, and now, of course, a Super Bowl trophy to be able to walk into the Hall of Fame. But with that being said, Aaron Donald will receive a $40 million raise from the Rams, and he will see a $95 million in totality on a contract that runs through the 2024 season. Donald will receive a $65 million guaranteed over the next two seasons as his average annual salary of $31 million, which makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. With that being said, Ish, what are your thoughts on Mr. Aaron Donald getting his money?
Oh man, it was a long time coming, but he got his bag. And if I am in that division, the Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, I'm probably cursing I'm cursing the Rams right now. I'm cursing the Rams. Why would I be cursing the Rams? Well, DK Metcalf, as we'll get to later on, that man's still waiting for his bag. Debo Samuel's still waiting for his bag. And when you see players I mean, even though we know he's a Hall of Fame talent and we know he fully deserves it, but when you see players in your very division getting their bag, I mean, that only makes you want to sit out more, right? So, congratulations to Aaron Donald. Congratulations to Kanye's Donda Sports on getting this deal secured for him.
Shout out to the shout out to Donda Sports though. I see you on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. You see me, Brad. You see me. I'm trying to get a deal with Donda too. So
Okay.
I gotta work. I gotta work on that. But yeah, man. Shout out to them. Definitely for negotiating that contract, getting that for Aaron Donald. He totally deserves it. I applauded his stance as far as I don't need football. I feel good with where I'm at now. I won the Super Bowl. I don't have to come back. And if y'all aren't gonna pay me what I'm worth, then I'll walk into the sunset and be done with it. And I mean, had he done that, I think he's still a Hall of Famer. But luckily they were able to work something out. We're gonna get to see him play again. And yeah, I mean, once again, congrats. We want. Let's just be honest. We want all these players to get their back because at the end of the day, we want them to be successful. We want them to get paid what they're worth. We want them to have that financial security because this game, you never know what's going to happen.
You're
So
here
I'm
for a good
always
time,
happy
not a
when that
long
happens.
time.
Exactly.
Yep, here for a good time, not a long time in the NFL. But hey, it is what it is. Not in a bad way, just in a And hey, that's just the type of sport that it is. Let me get to this comment right quick from Lee. He says, much well deserved. Another market changing contract, don't y'all think? This makes me think that could be Chris Jones' final year in Kansas City, seeing this offer. And he's going to want to be in the ballpark of this major bag. Just a possibility, I feel like. I will say this, excuse me. With Aaron Donald's contract that makes him now $31 million, of course, every year, and below him would be T.J. Watt from the Steelers at $27 million. I like me some Chris Jones, but I don't think he's better than T.J. Watt. Of course, he's not better than Aaron Donald. So, I mean, I guess what y'all thinking about $25 million a year, 25, 26? I like Chris Jones. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not. Chris Jones to me is not as much of a game changer as at least those two guys and Bosa and a couple other guys I can throw out as well.
Well, the thing you got to understand when the market shifts like this, it doesn't matter that he's not in their ballpark because T.J. Watt's deal is an old deal now, right? So that was the previous cap. It is now probably the floor for anybody that's negotiating a new contract that holds any sort of value. That TJ Watt deal is now probably the floor. That's probably the lowest point that they would be willing to get in on moving forward. So that's what this deal does. It creates that buffer, that little range where if you're a Chris Jones, if you're somebody like a Bosa brother or anything, you can go in and say, hey, I'm not taking anything less than what TJ got, and then move from there in the negotiation. So I don't think Chris Jones will be back in Kansas City after that because he's going to want somewhere in the ballpark. Not as much as Aaron Donald, but he's going to want somewhere in the ballpark. I think it's going to be similar to like when Dak was trying to get his deal, he wasn't necessarily trying to go up top, but he was trying to get in the ballpark of those top deals. And I think it'll be similar in that sense. So Aaron Donald just widening that gap a little bit, it makes it all that much sweeter for those players behind him. TJ Watt is living it up.
Yes, sometimes you do need to take your bag earlier instead of waiting. We'll see also with Lamar Jackson and his contract situation.
That's the one.
I'll be honest with you. I'm worried. I'm worried about that one. I don't know how that one's. I don't know how that one's gonna work because he's damned if he do, damned if he don't. What I mean by that, and I'll get to that in a second after I read this comment from my boy Lucas. He says, for sure, without Donald, there's no Super Bowl win without him alone. He is the literal anchor for that defensive line. So, yes, I definitely agree. But going back to remind me, my bad, I lost train of thought ish on that one. Who was I just
talking about? Lamar.
Lamar, yeah, my bad. Yeah, so with Lamar, again, with him being damned if you do, damned if you don't, what I mean by that is if he takes the money early, which is perfectly fine, you got to sometimes secure your bag now. Everything he does after this season, Super Bowl, another MVP, this, that, and third, he missed it instead of waiting. If he waits and he gets hurt this season, then all of a sudden you go from minimum $200 million to, $160 million or whatever. That's $40 million you probably want to, keep in your bank account. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Lamar, especially with him representing himself. I hope nothing but the best. I hope he gets his money. But again, it's very interesting what's going on in Baltimore. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a fan favorite. And I hope my boy Fracture Walnut is on the line right now because I know he loves him some Fitzmagic. And if you're a fan of football, let's just be real. I think everybody loves him a little bit of Fitzmagic. Even somebody like myself, he played for the Tennessee Titans. I don't even care for him being for the Titans. I liked him when he was with the Dolphins and just most recently with the Commanders. Even with the Buffalo Bills to that era, I didn't really care for him too much with the Titans. But in his 17-year career, he played for 9 different teams ish. This is a guy. Let's be real ish. This is a guy I feel like definitely overachieved as a quarterback. And overachieved as a guy that probably should have been out of the league within 5 years. But because he kind of knew his role, as in, look, I might not be the starter, but give me an opportunity, at least play a backup role, I can work myself into a starting role, play a couple of games here and there, be a starter for a year or two, and then that transition quarterback comes to take his place, and he goes off and does the same thing in a different location. And he just kind of have been that guy for the last 7 years, transitioning from team to team here in Houston and, like I said, Miami. And for Fitzpatrick, what is something that you will remember him by being in the league for 17 years?
I think exactly what you stated is exactly what I will remember him for. He was a guy that he knew his role. He was always happy to go in and fulfill his role, and he did what the team needed him to do. When he was called upon, he stepped in. He didn't complain. He did what he needed to do. And I mean, I don't know that he necessarily. Well, I guess he kind of overachieved if you think about his.
Well, 6th-round draft pick. Guy. I mean, everybody can't be Tom Brady. But to be a 6th-round draft pick and play 17 years in the league, that's great.
And play the significant, minutes that he was able to play, right? Like he constantly found himself in a situation where when a team needed a bridge quarterback, he was often the guy that they called, right?
Yep.
And he served well in that role. He always did a good job of, preparing the next guy up. And, one thing that I will note, you never really heard a complaint about, whenever it was time for the young guy or the rookie to step in and take the spot, you never really heard a complaint from him. You never really heard him, get upset or cause some sort of ruckus or anything. Like he fell back, he played his role and went to the next team. He knew he was going to another team to go take over there anyway.
It was just a part of the business, just a part of the NFL business, unfortunately for him. I kind of just see him as a lesser tier Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith was a better quarterback, unfortunately, just due to injuries. And speaking of injuries, Ryan Fitzpatrick actually mentioned that his hip injury with the Washington now Commanders is pretty much what led him into retirement. Who knows, if he didn't get hurt, he might have played another 1 or 2 more years. But due to that injury, unfortunately, that's what's going to make Ryan leave the field a little bit earlier than we might want him to. But even though he might not be playing on the field, you still might be able to see him on your television screen, because reports are circulating that NFL Network reported that Ryan Fitzpatrick is in talks with Amazon to be a part of the league's Thursday Night Football coverage. So if that is the case, you might see Ryan Fitzpatrick on the sideline, during Thursday Night Football. If you're able to get that through Amazon Prime television, exactly, yes, sir. So, hey, Amazon, if you need some sponsors, we right here. Hit us up.
we got you. We got you.
We right here. We right here. So, with that being said, again, another guy that did nothing but great things in the league, and I hope he is able to have. I hope he's enjoy his retirement.
I will miss him. I mean, of the boring quarterbacks to watch, and guys that just went out there and did whatever. He was kind of fun. He was a little fun. Yeah, I'll miss him a little bit. I mean, I'll miss him more than I'll miss watching some of these other backup quarterbacks we got out here nowadays.
You ain't gonna miss Nathan Peterman?
No, I don't want to see no Nathan Peterman out there. That's it. You made the point exactly right there. I don't want to see him. I'd rather Fitzmagic be out there than Nathan Peterman. So
I knew I had one. On top of my dome. There you go.
You got him. That was spot on.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to another guy that retired just recently, Mr. Frank Gore. And I want to speak about him just a little bit before we move on when it comes to a very underappreciated running back that was in the league that ran, 16 years in the league to play running back. First of all, that's outstanding. And two, to play and be also effective for that long, but to do it in such a quiet manner that when you finally look up at the leaderboards that you're the number 3 rusher of all time in NFL. He might not be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he didn't do it as excitingly as a LaDainian Tomlinson or Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, but he will get in. And for Frank Gore, Ish, I want to throw this to you. I know I asked you about what you remember about Fitz, but for Frank Gore, I don't think it was what do you remember him by? I think it's what do you when you come to Frank Gore, do you see just the work ethic that he had, not just in the league but also in college, and I'm pretty sure also in high school as well too, because this is a guy that just will outwork you, outwork you, outwork you, and that's the reason why he was able to have such a great career.
Yeah, I mean his work ethic, well documented. He worked hard. He played hard. That's one of the things. Like you can see it when you watch him play. The guy just played extremely tough, extremely hard. Like you said, for a running back to play as many seasons as Frank Gore did, I mean that is insane. I don't think you'll see very many running backs now in today's game play at the level that he played at for as long as he did. So that just speaks to the kind of guy he was, the way he played, his approach to the game. And I mean, I remember, growing up watching him play in college and him tearing his ACL and everything, and the question
Mm-hmm.
marks being there about, whether or not he would still be able to produce. And then for him to come into the NFL and do what he did, I mean, you
It's
just can't.
something. It's something in Miami water over there. Something in
Man,
Miami water because him and Willis McGahee.
yeah, him and Willis McGahee. Yeah. Um, just yeah, I am going to miss watching him play as well. Um, not the later parts of his years because you could tell he was slowing down, but rightly so as a running back. Like,
Nobody wants to see him play with the Jets, but unfortunately,
yeah,
it seemed like
nobody wants to see
that's
that.
where the running backs go to die. New York Jets and the Arizona Cardinals. Apparently, that's what Damian did. Of course, Lee says in the comment how you tear two ACLs in college and a third his first year and have a 16-year career in the
Still
league.
do what you did, yeah, man. It's crazy.
That's pretty amazing. And of course, like I said earlier, he's third most in rushing. He's also fifth in all-purpose yards. I mean, again, that just shows the testament of how consistently good that he was. He I'm pretty sure he didn't. I didn't look this up. I probably should have. I'm pretty sure he did not lead the league in rushing, not once in his 16 years.
I
But
don't think so.
it's not about leading. It's about being consistent and getting better year in and year out. Him and Adrian Peterson, going to walk into the Hall of Fame. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our last retiree. And this one, unfortunately, not due to performance on the field, is due to the unfortunate death of a player and his brother off the field, Mr. Stephon Tuitt. He is a defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unfortunately, he is retiring due to the passing of his brother, Richard, who was killed in a hit and run in Georgia last June. And when that happened, Stephon apparently took it very, very hard because let's be real, Ish. We've seen players in all sports, take a deaf mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever it is, and a lot of people would use it as motivation to continue to play well. Of course, one of the most famous, Monday Night Football games, Brett Favre, after his father passed away, he goes out and put on a huddle performance against the Oakland Raiders. But this isn't the case. And it seems like the death hit Steven so hard that he also had a statement that he made saying, and I quote, "After the tragic loss of my brother Richard, and upon completing my degree from the University of Notre Dame, I know I am being called to move beyond the sport of football," unquote, the statement read. So, Ish, with that being said, I think with Steven, with him getting that degree from Notre Dame, it allows you so much more options and resources in your life to be able to want to do what you want to do instead of doing what you kind of have to do to make money to live your life. I think his calling from God and also from his own hard work on this earth allows him to let go of something that he probably doesn't want to do anymore. And and the unfortunate death of his brother. Has not just unfortunate, but maybe fortunately has leading him into another path and of life that we check back in on 10 years from now, and who knows what he's doing. When it comes to a doctor, a lawyer, a priest, whatever it is. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Stephen moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's condolences to him and his family. It's always really hard to hear um, when when you lose a family member and just dealing with that. And how do you deal with that? How do you go through that? How are you able to process that? And it looks like for him, he's ready to end his career and move on to that next stage in his life. We don't know why that is. We don't know what the connection, maybe to the sport and his brother, what was there. But it is definitely a blessing that he's able to have his degree from Notre Dame, be able to move on and do something else. Hopefully something that he's also passionate about and able to continue to provide for his family. And I think it fits perfectly into a new segment that we kind of wanted to start, where we wanted to talk about this is a game, right? It's a game that if you are fortunate enough to play it, you get to play for a little while, and then you have to go on and do something else. And some people, that ending happens, sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
But the ending does come for us all, that have loved this game and played this game. And you got to find out, what are you going to do afterward. And for him, it looks like he's found it. And we know some people who have transitioned and done other things after this game. So yeah, that's the bright spot for me in this story, is that at least he was blessed enough to get his degree and know and kind of find something that he's willing to move on and do. And I only pray that all the guys out there, all of the athletes out there that play any game that you love, that you've played from a young age, that you're able to also find that thing that you're able to do after the game is done, right? When it's all wrapped up, when it's all said and done, you can't play the game anymore. I hope that you are able to find that thing and still love it and be able to provide for your family.
Ish, that was beautifully stated. You're 1,000% correct on everything you just said, and I definitely appreciate the segue when it comes to. I'm not going to drop it right now on everybody. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna drop them flex bombs on y'all a little bit later when it comes to a segment we have coming up in the summertime. I ain't gonna drop it right now. I'm gonna wait. I told Ish I was gonna drop it, but I'm gonna wait. Wait till next week to let y'all know. But we have some things in store for y'all. Pretty much when it comes to life after football, or just in layman's terms, we're going to be able to have some people on that have moved on from the sport and are doing some great things in the world today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and finish off tonight with a couple more topics so we can get y'all up out of here. Mandatory minicamp starts today for just a couple of teams meaning good 12. The Lions, Packers, Colts, Raiders, Rams, Vikings, Patriots, Giants, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, and the Buccaneers start off minicamp today. And, of course, the other teams in the league will join moving forward over the next week. Let's be real. We all know minicamp is just minicamp. It's not anything too seriously. Let's get the players in, get them hydrated, get them healthy, get them out of here, and please no injuries. And we'll see y'all for training camp. Minicamp is just for everybody to get back in the building, make sure everybody's good, everybody's safe. See the rookies, dap one another up, and then don't get in trouble for another month and a half, and then we'll see y'all for training camp. Out of these teams, no real news besides, of course, Mr. Thomas Brady and him being 45 years old, playing the game of football and yippee-dee-doo-dah-day. The biggest news, of course, comes out of Seattle's camp and Mr. DK Metcalf not attending mandatory minicamp because of wanting a new deal. We're going to talk about that for just a minute, and we're going to go ahead and move on. Ish.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the biggest news is the DK Metcalf situation, and I think like another receiver I already mentioned earlier in the show, that's also in that division, Debo Samuel. The same holds for both of those players, right? Both of those players have seen the boom in the wide receiver market. Thank you to Christian Kirk. They've seen that boom in the wide receiver market, and they want to capitalize on it. They want to cash in. They want to get their money now rather than later. And I don't blame them. And the question is going to be how long and how set are they on this path? How long are they going to hold out? How serious are they about getting the money that they want? Are they going to take it a full Le'Veon Bell? Are they going to take it a full Le'Veon Bell and sit out, or are they going you know come back in training camp? They're going to skip mini camp, come back training camp. I don't know. I'm curious to see this. I'm actually really interested in this because I want to see what happens with these two teams. These are two young guys that are definitely on the rise. And do you trade them, kind of like how the Chiefs realize, hey, Tyreek Hill, we can't pay you, so we're gonna trade you somewhere, or do you cash in on them? I hope they get their money regardless. I hope they get their money, but if you're a Seattle fan, you may not be wanting DK to get his money because y'all still got to find a quarterback.
The funny thing about both these guys are they are the same, but they're not. What I mean by that is DK is a guy that he likes to do things off the field as well too. When I'm talking about running track and being in the limelight, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying that he can have an opportunity where he might get hurt off of just something silly besides football. Going to a guy like Debo Samuel, where he's used all around the field, he's a guy that's being used all around the field that probably needs to get paid, because if he's going to be used that way, you don't want to put yourself out there, risk Debo, and and jeopardize your bag. Same way we talked about Lamar Jackson. So these two guys are again kind of the same, but they're not when it comes to how they're being used and what they do what they do on the field and off the field. But I think Debo gets his money before DK, because Debo means more to the 49ers than DK does to Seattle. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Seattle just says, hey, we'll trade you because we're in total rebuild mode anyways. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes to a team that actually kind of needs him to contend. But it'd be interesting to see where it goes. Like you talked about earlier, like it's going to be, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with DK. And Fracture Wagner finally joins us. He says, "Damn, I'm hella late." Yes, you are, but it is okay. But I will need you, Fracture. I need you to go back when the show's over with. Go see. We did talk about your boy, Mr. Fitzmagic. I know you might be a little upset that you missed out on that one, but we did talk about your boy Fitzmagic just a couple of minutes ago. Fracture Wagner also says, "I'm paying Debo before DK." Ish, what are your thoughts? You paying Debo before DK as well?
I'm definitely paying Debo before I pay DK. Although, actually, okay, if I'm really thinking about it from a team and organization standpoint, I'm probably paying DK before I pay Debo. And just hear me out on why I say that. It doesn't make sense because he does do more. He offers more. You utilize him more. But because of that, and the likelihood of him getting hurt, that's probably why I don't want to pay him the money. I probably want to hold out. DK being more of a traditional wide receiver, I could keep him around a lot longer because we're not utilizing him in that same capacity. Whereas Debo, I mean, bro, you're being used as a running back. That's why you should get your money. But if I'm being honest, let's look at some of these guys that have been utilized as pass catchers and running in the running game and stuff. Let's look at Alvin Kamara and the year he had last year. Let's look at
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. Some of these
Le'Veon
guys
Bell.
that have to do it all. They end up not working out in the long run. not because they're not great players, but because that wear and tear on their body. So if I'm the 49ers, do I really want to come out of that bag right now this offseason when the market has really gone up? Or am I just going to hold out and hope that we can continue to kind of string you along until maybe we end up getting trade value for you that doesn't cost us as much in the long run? I don't know. That's a thing for them. But yeah, I understand why y'all would say you would pay Debo, because of what he means to that team. I just he can probably get hurt. So
And that's why the GMs get paid the big bucks.
yeah, it is. And then they get fired quickly too because
This
they make
is
bad decisions.
Hey, this is very true. This is very true.
Because one of them gonna go pay Debo.
Hey, we're gonna have to, as always, wait and see what happens. All right, we're pretty much done for tonight. Speaking of the NFL news, but we do have some news of our own regarding X Talking Ish. Like we said in the start of this show, we haven't been on last couple of weeks just due to not as much news, but X Talking Ish is taking the show on the road this weekend. We are headed to Fort Worth, where we will be a part of the College Gridiron Showcase, where a couple months ago we were able to go out there and they had actually over 250 plus college football players that were getting ready for the combine, for the upcoming NFL combine, and a couple of guys actually who we were able to interview actually were able to get picked up as a free agent in the NFL. So I was able to interview a couple of those guys. What I would like to do actually is get those guys on X Talking Ish a lot sooner rather than later, and talk about their journey throughout the whole process of the draft process, and also hopefully they should be in training camp and mini camp, and then we'll see if they're able to go to training camp and make the squad. So if we're able to get them on, we can have a first person point of view without having to go through without having to go through ESPN and having them buffered up for you. We'll get you real life experience and real life exposure during these mini camps and training camps in the NFL because of the guys that we know. So with that being said, like I said, we'll be out there June 10th and 11th. That'll be this Friday and Saturday in Fort Worth, covering the College Gridiron Showcase. Let's get to the comment section right quick. Fracture Wana also says AK-41. That wasn't his fault, though. Thomas out and 30 for 30. Getting hurt didn't help, but I feel where you're coming from, Ish. He also says, peace out, boys. About to start the stream over. We appreciate that as always. And speaking of streams, I appreciate the segue on that one. We are officially at 2,000 streams on our podcast at X Talking Ish. You can, of course, stream us on all major streaming platforms from Apple Music to Spotify, and not on Pandora just yet, but whenever Pandora hit that podcast button, we're gonna go ahead and be on that as well too. Because I listen to Pandora. I know I sound old and people call me old, but I'm okay with that. Pandora got some jams. Pandora got some jams. Y'all not gonna hate on my Pandora.
I don't know the last time I turned on Pandora. So.
Hey, I listen to Pandora and Spotify. Okay.
Like nah.
So with that being said, I'm very proud of the 2,000 streams. We started from the bottom and now we are here. And yes, I will throw out that Drake reference because, hey, this has been some fun times with you, Ish. It's been some great times with our family watching. And I'm going to be about talking about the supporters. Y'all are our family. I say this all the time. We appreciate y'all as always for tuning in to X Talking Ish. This summer, again, we have some great things coming for y'all when it comes to interviews and hopefully some more trips all around the great state of Texas regarding football. And then when you blink your eyes, football season will be right around the corner. And, of course, we'll be here every week recapping the NFL and what it has in store for us. And, of course, the weekly update to Deshaun Watson and accuser number 74. So we'll see on that one. But on a serious note, We appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. We will see y'all. If not next week, I'll keep y'all updated on social media, and we'll let y'all know next time we are on for X Talking Ish. With that being said, see y'all next time.